The thoughts, views, and opinions expressed by this podcast and its hosts are for entertainment purposes only. The following content may contain elements that are not suitable for some audiences. Enjoy the show.
Are we on the air?
Oh, yeah.
It's the Codebreakers Podcast. And I'm your host. Y'all know the name.
Thank you, because now.
That's Joplin, y'all.
Yes, y'all. And you don't stop.
Check them out.
It's the Codebreakers Podcast.
It goes to 1, 2, 3, and here we go.
Let's start the show. Back for another episode. The Codebreakers Podcast. We got Joplin in the house. Joplin, say what's up to the audience.
What's up, everybody? Joplin here, ready to stir up a little fun on today's Who versus Napoli showdown. And you know, catchphrase of the day, let's roll with buckle up because the truth's got sirens today. Let's do this.
Today's podcast is a situation that I got in with Napoli County. It's an interesting situation, but at the same time, it's a situation you guys don't want to fall into, I guess. Yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit. Joplin, you had something to say? I'm sorry.
Yeah, just chiming in to say it sounds like this is going to be a really eye-opening story for everyone, especially if they're in EMS and dealing with Napoli County red tape. So stick around, everybody. We've got some lessons, a little bit of sass, and a lot of laughs coming your way.
Last week's trivia question, I don't remember what it is, but nobody even answered, so don't give a fuck. We'll create another one at the end. I think it was a scenario of some sort. Joplin, do you remember that scenario question from our last trivia?
Oh, yeah, Napoli. I remember we had a scenario about a trauma assessment and what to focus on. But hey, if nobody answered, that just means more fun for us to toss out a fresh trivia at the end. We'll keep it rolling, and maybe this time someone will step up for that shout-out.
I do recall a little bit of it, and I told EMTs to focus on the state that the patient was in, I believe. Yeah, guys, I mean, EMTs here in LA County, the main thing I heard in that scenario was altered level of consciousness or AMS or something. Call 911. We're not superheroes. I didn't bring a cape into work today. So, yeah, we're just going to call 911 and call it a day. Let the actual heroes come and save the day. And we could go eat Chipotle or something. So, yeah, Joplin, let's get into it. Versus Napoli. Here's the story. You ready for that?
Absolutely ready for it. And I love that approach. No cape needed. Let's just keep it real. So let's dive right into the showdown story, and we'll make sure to sprinkle in some laughs and a little truth siren along the way. Let's hear what went down.
All right. This story here is brought to you by... No, I'm just playing. I really don't even know where to start. I don't know if I want to start from way back in... when I went to EMT school, or if I just started from the minute I got the phone call from Napoli County. I'll kind of go back and forth. I might sound all over the place in this story. I really don't know. This is just all coming out natural as I tell this story. So, pretty much, I was under investigation for having some fraudulent certifications, which were not true. Napoli County, they falsified a lot of the stuff they were telling me. And that's why I'm still in EMT today. But we want to keep it that way. So before I start, look, Napoli County, LA County, all the counties I work for. Look, I appreciate doing what I do in these counties. And I would never have a fraudulent certification. I take all my classes. I do all my work. And I take my job seriously, even though looks like I'm having fun and I joke around a lot. At the end of the day, it's a paycheck for me. It puts food on my table, and it keeps a roof over my head. So, yeah, I'm not going to have any fraudulent certifications, something that will get me not only fired from my job, but lose my certifications as well. So, I guess I'll start out with the phone call. I just recently recerted when this happened for my 2-year to recert my gray card. And, I recert out of Ventura County. So, in order to recert, there's a couple things you need to have. You need to have a 24-hour refresher along with a skills sheet signed. And you need to have your BLS card up to date. Well, 6 months prior to me recertifying, I renewed my BLS. I went to a EMT course, which I took with one of my prior instructors that offered CPR. He does like an EMR class type thing, so I redid my certification in the EMR class when those students were getting ready to go to EMT school. So, yeah, I guess that's where I'll begin there. But yeah, did my class, did my CPR. 6 months later, I go to recertify. I have everything. I turn everything in, and what do you know? Something red flags in the system. Now, it red flagged in General County. Didn't red flag in LA County. Didn't red flag in Ventura County. It red flagged in General County. So, I recertified at the beginning of the year in January. And I believe this was 2023. Because I'm about to recert here in 2026. No, wait, that's two. Look, I'm an EMT, guys. I'm not good at math. Whenever I recerted in January. Not this past January, the January before that. After COVID, I don't even know what year we're in. So, yeah. I get this phone call one day. Wakes me up out of my sleep. And they say that I'm under investigation. And when I ask them for what, they say my BLS CPR card. Well, they didn't even say card. They just said, they pretty much told me CPR. And I'm thinking, like, am I under investigation for me doing CPR wrong on somebody? Am I being under investigation for not doing something right? But no, she said that my certification is under investigation. And that if I knew the name of the instructor that gave me my CPR card. And when I said, yeah, that's my instructor. And they said, oh, well, are you aware that he's handing out CPR without having people take classes? No, I wasn't aware. I'm not aware. I don't hang out with the guy 24/7. I don't know what he's doing. We'll get into him a little bit later. I'll probably that's a whole nother episode. I'm going to be honest. So when I went to ask more questions, she said, well, I'm not leading this investigation. It's actually someone else. I'm just calling to give you the heads up or whatever. And then we pretty much hang up the phone. So in my head now, I'm thinking, like, what the fuck was that? Like, maybe they had the wrong person. I don't know. Like, she didn't really get into more detail about it. So, I went on about my business, kind of kept it on the back burner to whatever that was about. Not worried too much about it because all my certifications are up to date. They're all legit, and I got them all legit. So, don't know what that was about. Well, about 2 weeks later, the person heading the investigation ends up reaching out to me. And that conversation there was just pretty much, they're saying I'm guilty. They come at me. They're asking me questions like, well, do you know your instructor? Do you know when you took the class? Did you sign a book? And how did I meet my instructor? Look, the instructor that did my CPR, he has a wife, had a wife. I don't know. When I first got into EMS, his wife was the one that did my CPR. And on my CPR card, it said CPR lady. So I always thought that she was the CPR lady. I didn't know CPR lady was some big CPR company out in General County or anything like that. I just know that I'm getting CPR by a lady. This says CPR lady. So I always used, I stayed loyal. So, I'm going to keep using the same person because they've always given me my CPR. So that's what I did. I kept going to the same person for my CPR, paying $60, taking the course, and doing it that way.
Yeah, and I think that makes a lot of sense, Napoli. I mean, it's totally normal to stick with someone you trust for your certs, especially if they've been reliable before. And it sounds like you were just caught in this weird situation where someone else's mess kind of landed on your doorstep. So I get it. No fraudulent certs on your end, and it's good for everyone listening to know that, yeah, you take it seriously. You might joke around, but you're not playing around when it comes to your credentials. So thanks for kicking it off, and let's keep going with the story.
I stay loyal to my CPR instructor. That's why I keep going to him. That's why I don't use my company that offers it for free. Plus, I got to drive way out, 2-hour drive to just go get CPR certified. I'd rather stay close by. Stay loyal to somebody who I know, makes money off their training CPR. He's also was a EMT instructor, all this stuff. So, yeah, kept it like that. But they were on the phone with me, and they're like, we have 100% proof that you didn't take a class, and he's already confessed to everything. And that's when I knew, right there, when they said that, that's when I knew they're fucking bullshitting. Because I did take a class. And I don't know the instructor, how he, what he says or what he does, but I did take a class. And when they're telling me they have 100% proof and they have all this, look, I'm no criminal, but I'm fucking street smart. I watch 48 Hours. When you get pulled in that room and they start saying, we got this, we got that, we got this, that, you shut the fuck up. Don't dig yourself into a bigger hole, even if you're innocent or if you're guilty. You shut the fuck up. And that's what I did. I shut the fuck up. What happens, happens. So they want me to write a statement. They want me to send it in. They give me all this information. I'll send in your statement, all this. And that's why I know if you have 100% proof, you won't be calling me. You just automatically do what you guys got to do on your end of a suspension on the cert or take away my shit, whatever. But that's what I did. I shut the fuck up. So, a couple days passed, maybe a week, maybe another 2 weeks. Yeah, I never sent in a statement. But in the meantime, I was like, I need to get some advice. So, of course, I don't know anybody. I Googled a EMS lawyer just to talk to them, see, advice, how to go about this, whatnot. My God, that was the worst decision I ever made. Reaching out to this lawyer. Pretty much got on the phone with them, told them the whole story that I'm telling today, and that lawyer, I'm sorry, I'm gonna do this accent, I might not do this accent justice or anything, but she was a Jewish New York style lawyer. She's, oh, Sean, you gotta understand, you're under criminal investigation. It was like I was talking to fucking Rosie Perez and shit. Like, Jeopardy's gonna call Billy. Like, she was, you gotta understand, you're under criminal investigation. But she's like, think about how many people you've done CPR with. And, she's like, my retainer fee is gonna be $5,000. I'm not doing that accent justice. Anyways. $5,000 she wanted for a retainer fee just to talk to me, just to get things going. You gotta understand, they reach out to me now. They don't reach out to you, and I pretty much told her straight up. She's like, you could go to jail for this. I was like, look, if I go to jail for something that I'm innocent on, I'm not gonna be around criminals. I'm not gonna be around the R words. I'm not going to be around, all these, I'm not going to be level 5 out here on the prison yard. I'm going to be with the dude that fraudulent taxes. I'm going to meet some pretty smart people, so this might be a good choice. On top of that, the $5,000, I'd rather put towards my commissary because I'm going to be the man in jail with $5,000 in my commissary. And, so that's pretty much where I ended that with the lawyer. But while we were waiting, and I was just waiting for OC to get back to me, wondering where a statement was or anything. I received a certified letter in the mail that I had to sign for. And the moment of truth, before I get to the moment of truth of what happened there when I read that letter, I want to give a shout out to the people who during this time wrote character witness letters for me just in case I had to go in front of my NREMT. You know, I had dozens of character witness letters from people I was FTO for, people I met in EMS, other instructors. Not my company. They just kind of blew me off. But that's another story. I'm not going to get into it. Shout out to the company I work for. I'm completely grateful for what I do. And like I said, it puts money on the table, and I'll never stir them wrong. Great company to work for. But the character witness letters, the things that I read in there, I damn near teared up. Like, there was people who wrote, like, you know, how I was just a great FTO, how I never do wrong. I wish I could sit here and read those out, but they were very personal to me. They were personal to, I'm sure, to the person who wrote them. But it felt great to know that I helped out that many people. You know, people today they're police officers. They've gone into the military. They're paramedics. I got 2 people who are doctors. I got 1 person in PA school right now. I got another person in med school right now. These are all people that I was an FTO to, and I feel, and I'm hoping they still feel, that I was a mentor to them. So shout out to them for doing that. But back to this letter, I go to open it, and the letter reads, I don't remember what it read. But it read in the line of some type of, it was saying that they base their EMS agency on integrity and honesty. And that pretty much if anything ever lands on their desk with my name again, this situation could get brought back up. Let's take it to that integrity and honesty part. That's what I want to focus on. Look, if you guys have 100% proof that I didn't do a CPR course and somebody just handed me a CPR card, what? where's the? You guys would have taken away my cert. So where's the integrity and honesty when you guys are telling me you have 100% proof? You know, where's the integrity and honesty when you called me on the phone and you lied to me saying you had 100% proof? Because you don't. You're just trying to get me to confess. Here's my theory. I think what happened is this EMT instructor got caught handing out some CPR, whatever, pain. Look, he's a porter. I'm sorry. Allegedly. All right? I have to say allegedly. He was doing some things wrong there. I don't want to say porter. That's not the word I should use, but he was doing some things wrong there that made some female classmates feel not so great. So that's for, like I said, another pod. But I'm pretty sure he was handing out CPR cards to some of these girls in exchange for something that he's not able to get by just being himself. And that's what happened there. And I think what happened is he basically got his EMT taken away, his instructor taken away, his CPR instructor taken away. And I don't know if he was just trying to bring other people down around him, or whoever's certification had his name on it, they were just coming after to see if we'd fold. And I'm sorry, this is no S County. I didn't fold. You gotta know when to hold up, know when to fold up. And I didn't fold. It was a poker game. That's all we played. We played poker. They went all in. I called, and I hit. Royal flush, motherfuckers. Joplin. Real quick, while we're on the subject of Orange County, who I love, why is Orange County make us do an ambulance attendant cert, even though we have our LA County, Ventura County, Why General County still make us do a ambulance attendant cert?
So basically, General County still makes you do that ambulance attendant cert because they've got their own local requirements and they just love a little extra paperwork, right? Even if you've got LA County or Ventura County certs, we still wants you to have their specific ambulance attendant certification to cover their local scope of practice. So it's just one of those hoops they like to make you jump through. Gotta love the bureaucracy.
So, I mean, do you mean extra paperwork or extra paper? You guys know what I mean by paper. Do they want the money? I'm trying to sound young. Is it just because they want to find a way to make some extra money?
Yeah, you pretty much nailed it. It's definitely a bit of that extra paper in both senses. These does have a reputation for layering on those fees, so yeah, it's kind of a revenue thing. They just want to make sure that everyone working under their umbrella is paying into their system. So it's not just paperwork, it's a little bit of a cash grab too. Classic fees.
So I've also learned, because I'm about to recert here at the beginning of the year of 2026, that they've raised the prices. Why did they raise the prices? I mean, we get paid like shit. We have to hold all these certs. I mean, Joplin, you don't even want me to go through the certs. Look, I got to hold a gray card. I got to hold a BLS card. I got to hold a DOT card. I got to hold a ESU ambulance cert card. I got to hold a DL51 medical examiners. You name it, it's on my persons at all time. And so, Joplin, why did they raise the price even more? Like, but they don't raise the wages.
Yeah, so here's the scoop. General County basically raised the prices because they say they need to cover more of their operational costs. They've got all these programs like overseeing trauma centers, cardiac care, stroke centers, and they claim that they need more funding to keep everything running. But of course, that doesn't help you on the paycheck side, and it definitely feels like they're just stacking more fees on you without raising wages to match. So yeah, I get it. More certs, more costs, and still the same pay. It's a tough deal, but that's the reason they give.
You said it, Joplin. They claim. There's no, I want to see the proof that this is why they raise it. It's something I don't even need. I work in LA County, but yet I still have to have this extra certification to ride in an LA County ambulance, which just makes no sense to me or any LA County EMT or paramedic. We still have to hold this certification. Now, I understand the company I work for is based in Orange County, so I get it. That's why I need to have it. I'm just over-exaggerating for these LA County EMTs that are getting charged $100 and something cert now, even for a renewal, and it's just becoming, it's taking money out of our pockets every 2 years. That's all I really got to say about that situation. But I love you, so you please don't kimmel me. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about my week. I'm gonna keep this podcast a little bit longer. I'll just talk about, the most memorable call I've had for the week. For the people who don't know, I work 224s, 48 hours. This call came pretty much on my last 24. Look, I'm being woken up out of my sleep. That's nothing that's normal. I'm being woken up out of my sleep. I'm going to run an IFT call, 5150, big girl, 450, pushing weight, line back for the Steelers. I have no idea. It's just big girl, man. Anyways, get woken up out of my sleep, get over to the hospital I'm going to, and what do you know? I got a crew that's posted there. There's a crew posted. Why am I being woken up out of my sleep? To move the story along, I walk into the hospital. It is now 5:40 in the afternoon. For you EMTs, that is 17:40. Pickup was 17:10. Once again, there was a crew posted the whole time. Now keep in mind, I said that this was a big girl. EMS, we call those berry calls. I was at the station. Why didn't you have me grab the berry? Now I got some nurse going off on me that I have the XPS. I don't have the berry. I'm late. Yet, there was a crew there that could have shown up on time I could have showed up with the berry. On top of that, this hospital's complaining all this. They can't even get their fucking paperwork right. So this patient's already walking back and forth doing all this crazy shit. I got to get her to my gurney, get her in the restraints. I'm still waiting 45 minutes for fucking paperwork. You want to complain to me that we're late? You want to complain to me that there's no berry? I get it. There's no berry. That's my fucking dispatch. That's a whole nother story. Right now, I know I keep saying that's a whole nother story because there's just so many stories in fucking EMS. So now I got this big girl on my gurney. I finally get the paperwork. We get going. I got a fucking almost an hour and a half transport out to Long Beach. What do you know? Guess what, guys? I'll give anybody the opportunity to guess. Go ahead, guess. Joplin, guess what happened next? Everybody, take a guess. What happened next when I showed up to this facility? EMS, you guys are going to get this because this shit happens all the time with dispatch. Go ahead, Joplin. Tell listeners what happened next. What do you think?
Oh, I can bet exactly what happened next. I'm guessing you showed up at that facility after all that hassle, and they either weren't ready for you, or they told you, oh, we didn't think you'd be here this soon, or they had the paperwork wrong again, or dispatch somehow gave you the wrong info. Basically, it's always that classic scenario where after all that effort, the facility is not on the same page. So yeah, that's my guess.
Joplin, you're close. Dispatch gave us the wrong info. So much wrong info that you sent us to the wrong fucking destination. Wrong destination, ladies and gentlemen. Guess what? I'm supposed to be at a whole nother facility. So now I got this big girl. She's fucking wilding out on my gurney. Very needy. I get it. Whatever. Patients are patients. We get through that. But I don't have a berry. You already had a crew that was on scene that just sat there. And now you gave me the wrong destination? This shout out goes to you, Dispatch. That's what this podcast is. This ain't Eastwood versus Napoli. This is Napoli versus Dispatch. Because that's what it seems like it is these days. I feel you guys got something against me. And I really don't know if it's true or if it's false. But I'm going to leave it at that. Joplin, what do you think of Dispatch? Any Dispatch, what do you think? What's the word out there? What are people? Reach out into your interwebs. What are the things that people talk about their dispatch, even if it's tow truck drivers, firefighters, EMS, whatever, package transporters, UPS. What do people talk about dispatch?
Oh, Napoli, trust me, you're not alone in feeling that dispatch sometimes seems like a universal villain. Whether it's EMS, tow truck drivers, firefighters, or even delivery services, people often have the same gripes about dispatch. It's usually about poor communication, getting the wrong info, inefficient routing, or just setting people up with unrealistic schedules. It's like a universal constant, and everyone has a dispatch story. So yeah, you're definitely speaking a truth that a lot of folks and a lot of industries can relate to. And hey, that's why we're here to roast it, but have some laughs about it, right?
So Joplin, what are your thoughts about EMS dispatch?
Well, Napoli, since you asked, and since we love to give dispatch a little heat, I'd say EMS dispatch is kind of that necessary evil we all love to gripe about. They're juggling a ton of moving parts, and yeah, sometimes they drop the ball. Okay, maybe more than sometimes. But in your running theme, that they can send you on a wild goose chase or wake you up for a call that makes no sense. So my thoughts, they're a prime target for a good roast because everyone in EMS has been there. But at the end of the day, we just roll with it and keep the humor alive.
Right. I've never worked dispatch. I don't know what goes on in that room. I'm always told that they're busy. There's so much commotion, and sometimes there's gonna be mistakes. Every time I've walked into dispatch, it's quiet. I walked in dispatch one time. A dispatcher had anime up on the camera system that watches over my station, which explains to me why when people are ringing the gate, you guys don't open it. That's all I have to say about that. Joplin, let's get into that trivia question. Create another scenario. We're just going to create trivia questions, even if people don't answer. I don't care. Maybe one day they will. Joplin, hit me with a scenario trivia question that's out there on the NR EMT.
Absolutely, Napoli. Let's dive into a fresh trivia scenario and keep that segment rolling. All right, here we go. So imagine you're responding to a call for a patient who's a known diabetic. They're found unconscious at home by a family member, And you get there and see that their blood sugar is reading super low in the glucometer. Let's say it's like 35 milligrams per deciliter. The family says the patient might have missed a meal and took their insulin anyway. So here's your trivia question. What's your immediate priority in managing this patient? A, start an IV line and administer dextrose if within your scope. B, immediately load the patient onto the gurney and transport. C, call medical control for advice before doing anything else. D, apply restraints preemptively in case the patient becomes combative. There you go. Let's see what you think, and we'll see if anyone answers this time around.
And yeah, we go for that. Guys, look forward next episode. I got my old partner, EMT Hopkins. It's a sit down that we did when we were testing all the audio equipment and stuff. We pretty much have a 4-hour conversation. I chopped it down into segments, so we're going to have different parts of that conversation coming out. That's what episode 4 is coming out. EMT Hopkins, who is now a nurse, so Nurse Hopkins, I guess, a Merce. So, yeah, look forward to that. Tip of the pod. I mean, guys, I guess we'll just say, make sure all your certs are legit. Make sure that the people you hire to do your certs aren't cutting corners in some way. If you got a CPR instructor that's just, let's go through the skills, but you don't watch the video and actually do a full 2-hour CPR course, that's probably not the course you should be in. Just do all your certs so you could move along in this EMS world. Joplin, you got anything else to say to the listeners?
You guys heard it here. Keep those certs solid and legit, and always double check that your training is by the book. And of course, we'll keep those trivia questions coming, so definitely tune in next time. Thanks for hanging out with us and for letting us share some laughs and some real talk. And as always, we'll catch you on the next episode.
Joplin always yawning by the end of the episode. The Code Breakers Podcast, thecodebreakers@gmail.com. We out.